Hello and welcome to another episode of Supercoach Insider. This is my team heading into round 7. You guys are enjoying these little 10-minute YouTube and podcast segments, and I think we're going to continue with it. It seems to be having quite a bit of success and break up the podcast a little bit more for us. So this is how I obviously went into the week. I had a pretty average week. I wouldn't say it was good. I dropped a little bit of rank. My total score was 2,236, which was obviously not that great for the round. I still managed just to stay inside the top 1,000 ranked. So I slid about 200 places, 219 to 968. Now, obviously from last week's podcast, my trade plans were absolutely thrown in the air at the once we had the Dunkley injury. So very much it just changed everything about what I was doing in the week. So initially I was actually going to bring in Lachie Neale and trade Golden and Lachie Neale. Golden and Clark to Lachie Neale and I think it was McRae. I completely ditched that idea out of the water, and I went with so because of I knew about the Dunkley injury, I just didn't want to leave my forward line short. So of course I bring in Dusty Martin. So one of the guys that I just didn't have, and of course he just had an absolute stinker and then got knocked out, which is weird because he was he didn't have a great first quarter. Then it looked like he had like an eye injury actually when I was watching the game. It came back on the field and then went back off, and then they called it a concussion. So it was a little bit of a strange one. Thanks, mate. Nice little Peroni. Thank you very much, Benjamin. So it was a bit of a strange one. That obviously really affected my team, that 39. However, it's probably a best of a bad situation because the other option was bringing in Lachie Neale, and whilst then I would have had the points, I would have to spend another trade. So Dusty's only going to be out likely for the 1 week. They've already said that. So he'll come in next week. And thank you very much for that finger. So look, and if anyone in the comp was going to get injured for 1 week, at least, and I'm going to get a 39, at least it was Dusty because 70% of the comp owned him. So the 30% that don't obviously get a slight leg up. Cool, because they'll be able to pick him up cheap. But he was 520k. You might get him 70k cheaper. Sick. Most of the competition aren't going to really get that benefit from you. So I brought him in, and the other trade that I did was I brought in Beau McCreary. And the reason I brought in Beau McCreary over Finn McRae is that I don't like bringing in rookies early, and Beau McCreary just seems to have more job security in our Collingwood team. So the reason is the way his position that he plays, and he's actually been very successful in it. So a small pressure forward. Since Jamie Elliott's gone down, we don't really have anyone to play that. Your Steele Sidebottom's been pushed into the midfield because DeGoey's been injured. So a lot of our forwards that would be considered pressure forwards, guys like Josh Thomas played in the midfield last week. So I think that he's got a little bit more job security in his role than a lot of the other rookies that Collingwood are bringing in. It's also just been announced that Caleb Poulter will also debut this week, which is warning bells to me for both Rantle, who debuted again last week, and McRae. And the reason is DeGoey is probably coming back in, so that means they're probably going to have at least 3 changes this week, with Keane also coming back from suspension, if they persist with Darcy Moore forward. Cameron's played such a good job, they're not going to drop him for Cox or anything like that, so it's unlikely that they change anything in terms of the tall setup.
How do you say his name, Chris?
Mark Keane or Finn McRae or...
How do you say it?
Say what?
Pulta?
Poulter or Caleb Poulter?
Been waiting all season.
Poltergeist? I don't even know.
Puta.
Oh, that's a story. So Finn McRae might not get a third game, and that would be real bad for anyone that brought him in. Now, I blame Buckley completely on this because he played a little bit on the ball in the previous week and he looked quite good. This week he had a very few CBAs and basically played in the forward line the entire time along with Jay Rantel. And I'm just like, why are you playing 2 of your best VFL midfielders that are dominating in the seconds in a forward pocket? When you have guys like Josh Thomas that are playing and Cal Brown that are playing forward minutes, I would say mid minutes, makes 0 sense at all. Cal Brown's never going to be a full-time midfielder, and neither is Josh Thomas. Why even doing that? It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to give the kids a run, play them in their positions. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So that could bode really badly for someone like McRae or Poulter. So kind of glad that I got McCreary. Also glad that he kicked 3 snags. Unfortunately, only got 47, but best of a bad situation. And of course, I played Rowe on field. That didn't help. Gulden again didn't help. Short definitely didn't help. Chapman again didn't help. So yeah, my team was a little bit worse for worse. Look, 2-2-3-6. It's not terrible. It's not the end of the world, but there's a lot better scores and a lot better teams out there. This week, I'm doing another upgrade. So at the moment, again, pending everything that happens, obviously the only real concern in my team is Dunkley. So I'll be getting rid of Dunkley. Now, I personally believe the number one trade-in target due to, and obviously this is, I think, a bit of a no-brainer selection, due to Lachie Neale going down, is Dane Zorko. So I think that he's, ever since the start of the year, they planned to play him a little bit more forward. Rayner goes down. He plays a little bit more mid-time, scores a little bit better than we thought. Neale goes down, probably going to score a little bit better than we thought again. He's a guy that for the next 8 weeks could potentially go on a run of 110, 120 average and average 100 over the season. Now, that's way better than any other forward option that you probably have outside of Zeeble already, who, by the way, is just running away with an amazing average. And any of these top 10 guys that are just really just average looking outside of Marshall and maybe Dangerfield when he comes back. So, so I think Zorko to me makes the most sense in every way. And so that's the way that I'll be leaning that. And then, of course, what do I do with the second one? So my option is with the trades that I have, and I've got 2 options to get rid of. Right now, Gulden and Warner both could potentially go, but Gulden doesn't have the role that Warner does. Problem is, I'd love to trade Gulden. I just don't have anyone around that price point. So if I go try and trade Gulden this week, the options are just really limited in terms of what I can bring in. So I'll have a look at this. So I definitely want Zorko. That's a non-negotiable for me. For 471k, and I don't really want a defender because for 2 reasons. First of all, I already have 6, and with the likelihood of putting Laird back into my midfield, and Whitfield playing this week, it looks like he'll probably play this week, which is good. So I don't want a defender. I would be happy to get a forward, but there's no one really at that price outside of Dusty, which I already have, and then someone like a Heaney. And for 471k, unfortunately, there really isn't any like midfielder that I'm interested in bringing in. All of them just that little bit more expensive, and the one that I really, really want that I can afford if I slightly change things around is Andrew Brayshaw. So instead of going Gulden, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade Warner. Now, I would avoid trading Warner if you could, because I think for on-field rookie scoring, he's still easily the best of the bunch. Yes, he could make a little bit more cash too. I mean, he could get up to 400. He's the guy that can definitely pop out some consistent scoring, and he has the role in the midfield right now. But if I'm being honest, if I trade him out now, am I going to really lose that much cash? Maybe, maybe not. The main benefit for Warner is that he's on field and you're going to be losing his points as a rookie forward option. Whereas if Golden continues this stretch of going down and down and down, or maybe even not getting selected, it's going to be really hard for him to really generate that cash. And his break even now is really dropping. So he's got a break even of 78. I think Warner is 76. But at the moment, it looks like Golden's nowhere near trying to get to that break even. He hasn't been performing, that's a bit of a red flag there. So I would prefer to trade Golden, but I'm going to have to trade Warner in order to do what I want to do. So I can move Dusty obviously into the forward line there and get Brayshaw in. So let me do this. Brayshaw. What have I done here? Don't even know what I've done. Why can't I do that with the money? I got to trade the Dunkley. It didn't go through. Okay, and that goes to Zorko. So this is how my team will look moving forward. I'll just put this through. Now, the good news is it still means that I'm able to maintain upgrade cadence. The bad thing is Brayshaw is obviously not exactly what I would say a tier 1 or a premium or an Uber premium. He's more of a tier 2. And I have a few of those. So, yeah, including Taranto and now Mitchell. Those guys are just stinking up my my midfield. And the ones that I want, obviously, are guys like who I really want is Oliver and Steele. Now, I could obviously do the one trade to there. I just don't think it's very, their break-evens aren't attractive. You know, Oliver's still got a break-even at 122. Steele's in the 150s. It's not urgent that I need to bring them in. Actually, I think Steele might even be higher than that. So you don't need to bring them in, and I've got a plan to get them in the next couple of weeks. But I think you take the value when it's there. I think Zorko's a must-have. To just try and balance your forward line with Dunkley going out, you need a best available forward, especially if you're really only running, Zeeble and Impey, and then you maybe you have Martin. Then you're running 3 rookie forwards on field. With the rookie forwards, the way they could be dropped at any time, I just don't like that situation. Now, obviously, Martin is going to need to be. He won't play this week, so I'll probably play Scott on field this week, and that is how I'll line up. Which is frustrating, but it is what it is. I'll also move Laird back here and get Ridley back on field. And I'm actually going to be captaining Brodie Grundy this week, I believe. So I'm going to likely go VC McRae into Grundy. A little bit different. I just think that with the GC rucks, you're either going to get a 193 barely played AFL ruck, or you're going to get Zach Smith completely underdone coming from an injury. Either way, I can see Grundy going big this week. So I like the VC option on McRae, especially because A, no Dunkley, so more points this week available for the Western Bulldogs, and B, Richmond love to leak points to midfielders. So McRae into Grundy is the way that I am going this week. So that's my team. Now, the benefit of this is I do have now 17 premiums and still 20 trades left at the end of this week, which means if I was to go 1 down, 1 up remaining, I would still have 10 trades remaining at the end of that. That's unlikely. I'm probably going to go 2 down, 1 up at least for Oliver and Steele. So 2 more, big premiums in there. That leaves me with 8 trades. So I've still got plenty of trades, for injuries or anything that happens during the season. To be full premium. So, really looking forward. And I think that the trade situation is a little bit overblown, in my opinion, in terms of, everyone's been just burning through trades. A lot of teams that I've seen, had a good starting setup and they've, traded well, even though they've had injuries or things have happened. They've got plenty of trades remaining to get to full premium. And the reason is Jack Zeeble and Impey. So they are both a top 10 forwards, meaning that there's no need to upgrade them or to trade them out or anything like that unless an injury occurs. So they've saved 4 trades on your season. So it's not as dire as you might think. Moving forward into next week, so my plan is Frederick, if he has a decent game this week, he'll likely be coming in for Chapman. And then I could also, depending on what happens with Flynn, I might trade him out for Thilthorpe. And the reason for that is it allows me then to put him as a forward rookie, and I can either play him on field or loophole him as well. And I might need that extra cover moving forward. So I am looking at Thilthorpe. The unfortunate thing about Flynn, I really hope he plays this week, but there's a rumour going around that Mumford might play. That's really going to throw things out if that happens, because you just really need that extra cash gen from Flynn, and we need it ASAP. And that's it. That's my team for this week. Hopefully I can have a bit of a turnaround in form from guys like Short. Hopefully, Dusty hasn't hurt us too much. And hopefully moving forward, I can climb back up and beat this old stager over here in the top 150 at the moment. So, cheers, guys. Have a good week and good luck. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.